Today's topic for discussion is different types of symbols and signs are used and different numbers are used to write the floral formula of plant in plant taxonomy. The concept of symbols and numbers used in floral formula, how they are used on what basis, that we are going to discuss. The symbols of floral formula represent the structure of flower. Complete structure of flower is represented by symbols, and some alphabets are also used. The alphabets, sign and numbers are used to show the number of floral parts in a particular plant. If the flower of the plant is asymmetrical, such flower is described as zygomorphic and it is represented by a symbol shown in the figure. If the flower is actinomorphic, means it can divide into two symmetrical parts from any plane, then it is described as actinomorphic. Such flower is represented by the symbol given in the photograph. Another, if flower is having calyx, every flower is having calyx. So only some plants, the calyx and corolla are not differentiated, but calyx is present. Calyx is the first whorl of the flower. What is calyx? Calyx consists of sepals. All the sepals together known as calyx, and calyx is represented by capital K in the floral formula. And if the number of sepals are 5 in calyx, then 5 is written at the in front of capital K. That means there are 5 calyx lobes in the flower. Okay. If the calyx lobes or the sepals are free, then it is described as polysepalous. Okay. And if the calyx in the flower is united and number of calyx lobes are 5, that is written in front of capital K. Capital K represent calyx and 5 represent sepal, number of sepals, and we have to take this in a bracket. Bracket is represented that represents the united sepals. If the sepals are united, that is described as gynosepalous, and it is the capital K is taken inside the bracket. And the 5 can be changed, the number of sepal 5, 3, 4, whatever it may be, like that. Okay. And capital K is represented, capital K is written for showing calyx. Okay. Next slide. This is a zygomorphic flower. This flower is from the family Cisalpinaceae. The genus Cassia angustifolia, its common name is Sena. The flower showing calyx lobes. See the first whorl of the calyx, just above the pedicel of the flower, calyx is situated. There are calyx, it is a free calyx is free, but this is a zygomorphic flower. Zygomorphic flower means the flower which do not divide into two equal parts. Two symmetrical parts are not developed because of different shapes of the petals in the flower. Such flower is considered as zygomorphic flower. Next slide. This is a actinomorphic flower. Actinomorphic flower, when you divide into two parts, two symmetrical parts are developed from any plane. Such a flower of the plant, it is described as actinomorphic flower. Okay. This flower is from family Amaridaceae, genus Crinum asiaticum, and common name is poison bulb. It is a very common plant in Marathwada, and this is a flower, symmetrical flower or actinomorphic flower. Next slide. This is a calyx. This calyx consists of sepals, and all the sepals in the calyx in this photo, they are united. Therefore, such calyx is described as gynosepalous, and this calyx is from the family Fabaceae, and name of the genus is Canavalia glandiata, and its common name is sword bean. In Marathi, this plant is called as patadi. In Karnataka it is called as patadi, but this is in Maharashtra, Marathi name will be some different. Next slide. This is also a calyx. All the sepals are united. This calyx is from family Malvaceae, genus Hibiscus rosa sinensis. That is China rose. Okay. This calyx lobe is there are 5 sepals, but they are united. Such calyx is described as gamosepalous. Next slide. This is also a calyx of Lupha cylindrica, family Cucurbitaceae. Such calyx, all the sepals are free in the flower. Such calyx is described as polysepalous. Sepals are free. Okay. Next slide. This is capital C is written for to represent the corolla, and corolla consists of petals. If in the flower petals are 4, then in front of calyx capital C you have to write 4. Corolla 4. Corolla 4 means there are 4 petals in the flower. Capital C 4 means there are 4 petals in the flower. And if the petals are free, then it is described as polypetalous. If the petals are united, what you have to do? The united petals, that is described as gamopetalous, but in the symbol capital C, number of petals 4, and you have to take it inside bracket. Okay, for united petals. And capital A is represent capital what? Capital A represents in the floral formula, that is androecium. Androecium, it is the male part of the flower. It consists of stamens. If the stamens are 5, then in front of capital A you have to write 5 in the floral formula. Okay, and this A5, if the stamens are free, then it is described as polyandrous. If the stamens are united, that is described as synandrous. Okay, in some flower there are many stamens. We cannot, it is difficult to count the number of stamens in many flowers. Even in China rose we have seen there are many stamens. Many stamens are noted in the form of symbol. Capital A is for androecium, that means total number stamens. Androecium, capital A is written, and infinity means many stamens are there. Next slide. This is a polyand. These are the petals. These are the petals of Galphimia gracilis. Its common name is spray of gold, and such petals, they can separate easily. Such petals are present in the corolla. Such petals in the corolla, they are described as polypetalous because they are free. This is the member of family Malpighiaceae. Next slide. This is the corolla. It is a gamopetalous corolla because all the petals are united. Its common name is bougainvillea. It is very common plant, and its common name is paper flower, but its botanical name is Bougainvillea spectabilis. Okay, and the family is Nyctaginaceae. Next slide. In the symbol, this female flower is represented like this as shown in the photograph, and male flower is shown as this see in the photograph, and bisexual flower is represented like this shown in the figure. Next slide. This is a bisexual flower. Bisexual flowers means is the flower which is having androecium as well as gynosium. If both the androecium and gynosium are present in the flower, that is known as bisexual flower. And in some books it has written hermaphrodite flower. Okay, and this flower, it is a bisexual flower shown in the photograph. This is the family. This is the flower of Argemone mexicana. It is commonly known as prickly poppy, and its family is Papaveraceae. Okay. Next slide. Gynosium of the flower. It is the female part of the flower. It is in floral formula. It is represented by capital C. Capital C represents gynosium in the flower. And if the ovary is inferior, then you have to draw a small line at the top of the capital C, that is gynosium, that represents is ovary inferior. If the line is below the capital C, then it represents ovary is superior. Okay. And if the carpels are 2, then capital you have to write capital G and 2. That means gynosium, it is having carpels 2. And it is if the flower is having 2 carpels, it is described as bicarpellary ovary. Bicarpellary ovary. If it is united, then it is semicarpus. In many plants, the calyx and corolla, they are not differentiated easily. In such flower, the symbol is used capital P, that is perianth. Perianth consists of tepals, T-E-P-A-L-S, tepals, okay. And below that, another figure. If the androecium, that means stamens, all the stamens together are known as androecium. If the stamens are united with the corolla lobes means petals, such stamens are described as, this is the epipetalous condition of stamen. If the stamens are fused with the petals of the corolla, that is described as epipetalous condition of stamens. Okay, next slide. This we are showing here in the photograph, gynosium with superior ovary. Gynosium, what is gynosium? This is the female part of flower which consists of ovary, style and stigma. Okay, and ovary is superior. When we call it as ovary superior, because all the floral parts, calyx, corolla and androecium, when they originate from the base of the ovary, that is considered as superior ovary. Okay, and this gynosium is from the family Brassicaceae and its genus Brassica nigra. Common name is rye or mustard. All the figures are taken from Samsung mobile and all the figures are original. Next slide. We are representing here perianth, and perianth is represented by capital P in floral formula. When the calyx and corolla are not differentiated, at such condition we call it as perianth, and perianth lobes are known as tepals. And this is the flower showing perianth. This is the flower of Antigonon leptopus, and its common name is chain of love or bird tears. And family of this plant is Polygonaceae. Thank you very much. Save trees, save earth. It is very important.